Let's just talk about maybe SA hip hop, how that has grown and how you made it viable. Because about 10 years ago, we were talking about how Zim Hip Hop was bigger than SA Hip Hop, but it looks like SA Hip Hop has totally surpassed us 10,000 times. So can you just tell us how SA Hip Hop has evolved and how you made that viable?
Yeah. Sorry, I haven't rapped in a while. Forgot the mic has to be on. So I feel like just generally with hip hop and just generally with black culture, across the problems you're having are problems we're having. Black culture is always going against a tidal wave. You know, we're always going against the tidal wave of a westernized culture, of westernized business, etc., etc. So, because culture, when we create culture, we haven't really made it academic. You know what I mean? You're actually born with this thing, and it's natural, and all those other things. So, you know, on top of the layer of making success, that's when it starts becoming academic. You know, that's when it starts becoming strategic. That's when you actually, like, now have to realize that, you know, you are arguing, let's say over radio, because I heard the conversation earlier. And it's a conversation I have even with the cats back home, from artists as big as Casper. I've even said this to him before. I said, you guys can argue about radio, but, you know, radio is probably not going to be what it was. In fact, the radio is not the force that it was like 10 years ago. Neither is TV, you know?
Yeah.
All these mediums are mediums that are dying off, and it's businesses that are dying off because they are also disposable. Just like your rap career is disposable. So immediately when you are sitting there and expecting to be given, that means you saying, hey, your business model doesn't talk to my business model. But why should my business model talk to your business model? The biggest artists right now are artists that actually said, well, fuck the radio, fuck the TV, I'm gonna do it myself. And that's the same story back home. Back home, it's a consistent resistance of support. Like the biggest DJs in South Africa, that are the guys that are like the biggest DJs, they all house DJs. There is no one hip-hop DJ in South Africa that's at a prime time spot. In South Africa, there's nothing like that. So by default, house will always be pushed as the first genre, because there isn't a, like, if you guys know it, DJ Fresh, you know, if you guys know Euphonic, if you guys know more, well, some of the, but these guys are big house names who are literally stationed on the biggest, on the, and Oskido, who are stationed on the prime spots of music. So rap literally is fighting its way in. So, you know, when everyone talks here and talks about like Zim this and that, we all going through the same shit. The reality is that how far you take in the fight. And you got to realize that the industry is your community. The industry is not like radio, because they own business. You know, our radio, 5FM is competing with YFM, they're competing with Highfeld. They ain't competing with artists. Artists are just collateral of who's relevant. Yeah. We just push that out. So, I mean, how we've moved forward, how a lot of us have moved forward back home, we said, we're going to do it ourselves. We're going to build it ourselves. And you know, we do it so well that like radio wants to buy in, and then the kids that come after us come through the radio channel, right? But we came through the underground channel. So those kids that come through the radio channel then create a perception for the third generation that, oh, so radio actually has to play us.
Yeah.
When we knew as the first generation that radio never done shit for us. Radio only messed with us to stay relevant, you know what I mean? So it's not a lot of people that make change. It's one or a few people that actually say, this is what we live, breathe, and we're going to change. And you got to actually embrace the fact that like you're going up against a tidal wave.
And it's all about authenticity as well, bringing in the authentic style of your country, the authentic values and norms that you believe in as well. So yeah. we see most of our hip hop